We interrupt this program to bring you...
Your Nick fucking... All right, everybody. My name is Kevin.
And I'm John.
My name is Adam.
And I'm Julie.
And we are the Real Movie Guys. Mr. Referee, one last time, ring that bell, close that steel cage. It's time for the final Real Cage match. The Real Cage Match is a special series where we review 12 of your favorite Nicolas Cage films, let them go one-on-one in a head-to-head battle series to determine which one's the best and the cagiest one of all. On today's episode, it's the end. We've made it to the end, guys. This is where we're going to kind of wrap everything up for you. It's the finals. We're ending these brackets here for the cage battles. We're going to determine it, guys. This is the one. Put your seatbelts on. Shake it out a little bit. It's going to be a wild ride, a cagey ride, if you will, to the mind of Nicolas Cage and who is the cagiest film of all. First decision we have to make here, guys. We talked about this previously. We had The Rock and we had Adaptation. That was one of the brackets. We had a pretty lengthy conversation about those two. The Rock we thought was a quintessential action movie. Adaptation we felt was like this big magnum opus of the best Nicolas Cage acting we were looking for. I'm going to start this off. I know I usually put somebody in the hot seat first, but I think it's fair if I do it first. You know, I know it's a little, I know you guys are just sick of me just not going first and, you know, waiting for how this goes. Although the heads are shaking, I'm getting a little upset there. All right. The first one I'm going to pick, I want to pick The Rock. The Rock is like near and dear to my heart. I love The Rock. I think it's a fantastic movie. I really do. Good stand a good speed here, you know, going forward. I think it's great. I think it's a phenomenal movie. Adaptation, phenomenal performance. One of my new favorite Nicolas Cage movies, actually. It's really up there. Movies in general, just as far as the performance value, I think there's really something special there. So what wins? Heart, acting ability? I'm going with Adaptation. I'm actually going to vote for Adaptation to move forward in this battle. Again, as much as I love The Rock, and I'll watch The Rock a million more times more maybe than I'll watch Adaptation, I just can't not look at Adaptation, though, because, again, it gives me kind of what I've been asking for in this series. Great performance, and then a cagey performance. Nicolas Cage plays his twin brother, and he argues with him about making a movie. It's a movie within a movie about making a movie. How much more zany and cagey do you have to be? I think that's absolutely phenomenal. Julie, I haven't picked on you first in a while. What are you picking? What are you thinking between these two?
It's hard. It's hard. Maybe I'll surprise people, but I probably won't. I'm torn because The Rock, I feel like it's just iconic Nick Cage. Like when people think about Nicolas Cage, that's probably the first movie that comes to mind. But Adaptation, he delivers such an amazing performance. 2 performances. So I'm not going to break the mold. I'm going to go with Adaptation.
Wow, so a second vote for Adaptation here. So is that all right, so two for Adaptation. You can always change your mind. You know, we won't lock this in until after everyone's discussed. So, okay, so we got 1 for Adaptation. John, I'm going to go on you next, man. Which one are you talking about? I know this was your first time watching The Rock, which was like blew my mind because I could have sworn you've seen it several times. And you really liked it. That was actually your highest rated one out of all of them. That seemed to be like your bread and butter for this whole Nicolas Cage month. I think that was that your highest reviewed movie out of all of them? I think it might have been for you.
I do believe it was.
Okay.
Me and Stanley Goodspeed are on good terms.
Yeah, it's your favorite name, right?
I believe Stanley Goodspeed should go on to the next round.
Yeah, just like that? Just picking The Rock over Adaptation?
Yeah, I think The Rock was more cagey.
More cagey?
More action.
Okay, all right. So
more attraction.
John's pretty. Wow, he's pretty like tough right there. He's like not even like deliberate. All right. Adam, you got to decide, man. You can either tie this guy up or you can let it move forward.
See, I can't knock John's argument for it being more cagey because I think technically, yeah, it was more cagey.
Okay.
However,
so being a biochemist or a bionuclear scientist who has to disarm nuclear bombs is more cagey than a writer who talks to himself? and has an imaginary twin brother and creates an elaborate story around everything that's happening? You think that's more cagey?
I'm gonna go with adaptation.
Ooh. All right, so we'll just make sure. I got one. I'm going to keep my vote. I'm sticking with adaptation. Julie?
I'm sticking with adaptation.
John, am I
Imagine
changing?
how funny would it be if I switched at the last second?
That'd be kind of intense. I'm not going to lie to you. John, how about you? You going to change your mind? No?
I never succumb to peer pressure.
No peer pressure for this guy. He's Stanley Goodspeed all the way. Adam, sticking with
I'm staying.
All right, guys. Adaptation's the first one in the bracket. That'll be moving forward to the finals here. Very nice to see. Next up. Oh, this one's very interesting. Vampire's Kiss, one of the lowest rated movies next to The Wicker Man, which gladly didn't continue on this list. God, still got some Vietnam flashbacks of that one. Did not enjoy The Wicker Man, but Vampire's Kiss, as I sat with it, I did enjoy my time a little more maybe than my review let on. It's a terrible movie, but it is so bad it's good. I think there's a case for it. That's going to be taking on Ghost Rider. Ghost Rider. Another interesting entry on this list. It's the precursor to the Marvel Cinematic Universe, the dark times, if you will, for a lot of fans. So what's going to triumph here? A cult classic that's so bad it's good, or the Ghost Rider? I don't even know. I was trying to look for a better lead-in for that, but I just felt like the Ghost Rider was just enough. Most people know what I'm talking about. Adam, I'm picking on you first for this one because I know how much it means to you, Ghost Rider, so I think I really need you to tell me what you're picking here. Because if you can trump Ghost Rider, then that might be saying something for Vampire's Kiss.
Damn, I don't know. I knew that they were going up against each other, but I just didn't realize until now that they were going up against each other.
Everything's on the table. I know. It's brutal.
Huh.
So let's talk it through. Let's talk it through a
go
little
ahead.
bit. This will be for everybody. We'll have some group therapy here. This is what we like to do here in the Real Movie Guys. Ghost Rider. What are some of your positives? I mean, I know you love the movie.
It's Ghost Rider.
We had a really good time with it. We enjoyed the campiness of it. Nicolas Cage's body performance being on fire, and some of his one-liners I think were a lot of fun. Ghost Rider is an incredibly cool character. We did make some arguments though that maybe he wasn't the best actor to be Ghost Rider or Johnny Blaze.
Agreed.
So I think there's a case for that. There is definitely some slow kind of just weird choices made throughout the movie. Even we kind of just said right now, though, even the inclusion of Nicolas Cage I think is questionable. It is tame by some standards, I think, for a Cagiest performance, minus the transformation scenes and some of the weird quips here and there. It's kind of tame, right? It's kind of your by the numbers for that time period, the 2000s Marvel movie. Again, not taking anything away because I think there is some fun to be had with it. I mean, I could rewatch it. Even when we rewatched it for this review, this was kind of my probably third or fourth time watching it, and I still had a decent enough time, almost as any other current Marvel movie. So I think there's an argument to be made for that, right? Would you say?
Yeah. However,
then there's Vampire's Kiss.
However, I think because Vampire's Kiss was more of a fitting movie for Nicolas Cage, I'm going to give it to Vampire's Kiss.
Just like that. Like that. All right. So what were your thoughts with Vampire's Kiss? Maybe this will lead to some of the other discussion. Would you say it was very early on in his career, one of his earliest movies I can think of? And it's just a very strange movie from beginning to end. It kind of has an almost The Room is the most notorious bad movie. I'd put Vampire's Kiss in a similar area of that movie where you could gather a bunch of people, hang out, watch Vampire's Kiss. It's a fun movie to watch, even if it is a little dark and disturbing to some really weird degrees. But Nicolas Cage is just insane in that whole movie.
I think at the end of the day, Vampire's Kiss has, helped craft Nicolas Cage to
his legend,
who he is today, and the rest of his roles that he's gotten, even more recently.
Right,
that's the actor that we've come to know.
Okay, all right, Adam. So we got one for Vampire's Kiss. Julie, I'm gonna jump to you real quick. What are you thinking? Which one do you think deserves to move forward here?
At first, because I loved Ghost Rider, I was thinking I'm gonna have to put it forward because at the end of the day, it's a better movie, but your conversations inspired me where my main gripe with Ghost Rider is that Nicolas Cage should not have been in the movie. and he brings nothing to the table in the movie. Where Vampires Kiss, nobody but Nicolas Cage could have played that part. And that was such a beginning, like that was the spark of a lot of the Cageisms that we have dealt with this entire month. So it has to go to Vampire's Kiss.
Okay. So Vampire's Kiss, we got a second for it. John, how about you, man? What are you thinking?
There ain't no way in hell I put Vampire's Kiss over Ghost Rider. Not over my dead body. It's a terrible ass movie.
Your undead body, I guess in both cases.
Johnny Blaze goes on from me.
Johnny Blaze, just like that. I gotta love them. I gotta love man's decisiveness there. He makes it so much easier as a series. I listened to this whole argument, and I've kind of been like thinking about it in my head as we've been going. Ghost Rider, definitely a good movie. I think I really enjoyed it. Vampire's Kiss, I think so bad it's good. Ultimately, though, when I go back to this and I think about, like kind of like Adam said, Nicolas Cage's career is literally an encompassing of this character. Whether it's bad or good, Nicolas Cage will give us a character performance, whether we want it or not. He's going to give us an accent. He can't ever do an accent, which I think is hilarious, no matter what I've seen him in. I think Vampire's Kiss has to move forward against Ghost Rider. I really don't think there's an option for it. Unfortunately, Ghost Rider it's too tame by our Nicolas Cage standards, I think, to be able to advance further in this tournament. And even with it going beyond this, I don't even know if it could stand up against some of the other heavy hitters along the way. So Vampire's Kiss, I think, has like that it might have the stuff. I think it might have the stuff to go on. So I'm going to push Vampire's Kiss. Julie, are you sticking with Vampire's Kiss?
Absolutely.
John, hanging in there with Ghost Rider?
Hell yeah.
And Adam, Vampire's Kiss, I'm assuming?
Yes, sir.
All right, Vampire's Kiss is going to push it along. Next up, Willy's Wonderland taking on Mandy. This one was one I was worried about the most. I never thought I would say, and especially as someone who's watched Nicolas Cage from the very beginning of his career up until his recent years of his career, I would never say that I thought Nicolas Cage is a little cagier in his later career. I think he made a lot of these crazy choices, and it looked no further than Willy's Wonderland and Mandy. Both of these movies I really enjoy. While they may not be perfect scores or anything along those lines, they're B movies at their finest, and even rise a little bit above that with what they kind of bring to the table as far as performances. Both performances are very similar. We do have Mandy and Nicolas Cage in Willy's Wonderland giving the silent, almost not to the extent of Willy's Wonderland where he's completely silent throughout the movie, but Mandy doesn't really use much dialogue. He really works well with the director, and I think in both movies' cases, kind of like when we were discussing it, I think he worked well with both of these directors to the point where he got their visions across much more successful than they could have without him. And it's a really tough decision for me. So I think I'm not going to go first on this one, actually. I'm going to give... No, I'm just kidding with you. I'll go first. Everyone's like shaking their head. They're real nervous about this one. After I really sat down and I did think about it, because I've been mulling this over for a while, because I kind of felt like this was going to get to this point. Eventually, something was going to happen. One of these was going to have to continue forward. I really think at the end of the day, if I'm looking for that Cagiest performance, Mandy has that performance that I'm looking for, but I can't deny how much fun I had with Willy's Wonderland. So I'm actually going to push Willy's Wonderland ahead of Mandy. I think Willy's Wonderland, that just silent performance, and after hearing some interviews of Nick Cage explain how much it meant to him to give just a silent protagonist performance, I think it really delivered for me. I would argue it's definitely one of the cagiest things. While maybe there's not some outright like batshit insane scene like there is in Mandy, because there's quite a few really good ones in Mandy, and I could be swayed. So I think if someone does have the argument here to sway me, I think it could happen. But right now, I think I'm going to push forward Willy's Wonderland. That's kind of where my heart's leaning towards. John, you're a man who likes to be decisive. What are you thinking?
Yeah, I'm also a man without a heart. I will go with Willy's Wonderland easily.
Okay.
I feel like that movie was just all-inclusive. That movie was just all around pretty good.
It's a family
Crazy.
movie, right?
Batshit crazy. Fucks up with Chuck E. Cheese. I mean, what else could you want?
It's just so much fun. Like I really, and I always like to have a nice balance between, I think, serious fun and just like what Nick Cage is bringing to the table. And I feel like Willy's Wonderland is like the perfect concoction of those two things. Mandy is fun in its own strange and psychotic way. But Willy's Wonderland just really stood out to me. And again, I think out of all the movies, it surprised me the most. That was really the most shocking movie that we watched on this list. That kind of made me go like, okay, this is really good. I really like this movie.
Oh yeah, and definitely I can't get the song stuck out of my head.
Happy birthday. Oh God, don't even start with that. Ugh. All right, Adam, I'm looking at you. What are you thinking? Are you going to try and sway me, or are you going to try and stick with the pack?
There is no swaying happening here because I also pick Willy's Wonderland.
Right. Now, did you have a hard time deciding between the two?
No,
I
did not. No, not at all. There was I think the amount of entertainment I got from that movie and the consistency of Nicolas Cage's performance throughout that movie, and just every single time, anytime he was on the screen, it was just entertaining.
He stole the show without saying a word.
Yep.
I think that's impressive.
Absolutely.
Okay. All right, Adam. Adam's pretty firm. How about you, Julie? Are you gonna go like you like to do and kind of just like pick something to be opposite of us, or what are you thinking?
No, I mean, I'm not picking it just to be opposite of you guys, but I am going to go with Mandy because...
Wow, that surprises me. That surprises me. All right, explain, because I'd be interested to hear why you picked this one. I could be swayed. I still haven't locked in, so...
It's like you brought up, where both of them, they're those brooding, kind of mysterious characters. While I had more fun with Willy's Wonderland, I think at the end of the day, I just really appreciated Nick Cage's performances because they're both cagey performances, but just the emotion that drives his character in Mandy, that bathroom scene alone, and then just seeing him. And it is interesting if you really think about it. Both characters are, dispatching these, entities, whether they're, LSD addicted bikers or possessed animatronics. They're both kind of on this mission to eliminate, these adversaries in their path. I just think Mandy was the better movie, like thematically and performance-wise.
Really? So that's kind of what you're going with.
That's what I'm using. Again, I had more fun with Willy's Wonderland. I would probably watch that over Mandy, but I think his performance was better.
Okay.
I'm going to pick performance over movie this time.
Oh, man. You're making me think. You're making me feel feelings in my heart. That's not good. Fortunately, I'm sticking with Willy's Wonderland. I don't think I can not let it go forward.
You're a jerk.
Willy's Wonderland is just too much fun, and I can't let the wheel of fate decide this one for me, because I think that's ultimately what it would come down to, since, again, apologize, poor planning. Probably should have had 5 people instead of 4, just to avoid kind of these things in the future. But I just really do think Willy's Wonderland is more fun. Again, Mandy, I will watch again. I think I'll have a good time with it, but I'm going to remember Willy's Wonderland for quite some time. Nicolas Cage fighting animatronics just doesn't get old, and I think I could keep watching that for quite a few more times. So we're going to go around one last time. Julie, you sticking with Mandy?
Yes.
John, were you swayed? No, Willy's Wonderland?
Hell no.
And Adam, I don't think you were swayed either.
No.
Oh boy. All right, guys. Willy's Wonderland's making it to the finals. Now we come to the ultimate discussion that everybody's been waiting for. A triple threat match. Ooh, that's where it gets interesting. A triple threat match here. So this is what I'm really going to need everyone to think. This is how we're wrapping it up. So we ultimately decided Adaptation is taking on Vampire's Kiss and is taking on Willy's Wonderland.
Oh my gosh.
That's the reaction I was
hoping for. How the hell did that happen?
I know. We got pretty far. We've talked about a lot of Nicolas Cage films. There's a lot of them that we've discussed, but ultimately it comes down to these 3, guys. I don't know. I don't think there's one among them that's obvious. So take a few moments. I want you all to think about it. We've kind of given our thoughts already up until this point, but I'd like to hear what someone would have to say. So instead of me again picking on people, I'm going to give you my thoughts here. So Adaptation, again, we've said cream of the crop, Nicolas Cage acting. I don't think anyone would say maybe it's the best film in the bunch. I would say as far as artistic direction, as far as acting, it is an Academy Award nominated film. I mean, we got to give it some credit there. It actually is the most well directed of all the films. That being said, Vampire's Kiss is the worst directed film among the whole bunch. It's the other abstract, but it is so bad it's good. Kind of like we said, this kind of gave Nicolas Cage his starting point as the actor that we've come to know. He chose to play a weird surfer guy businessman who thinks he's a vampire. And God damn it, did he commit to it to the insane levels that it's notorious for now, where there's memes birthed from its very inception. There's so much discussion about Vampire's Kiss. It's even interesting going back and watching that movie and just seeing how insane it is, and maybe trying to understand why the choices were made that were made. And then there's Willy's Wonderland, which is kind of in the middle of these two movies. It's definitely not the best movie, but by far from the worst. I would say maybe it's the most fun out of all these movies. I think I would have the most fun personally watching it. Seeing, Nicolas Cage as a silent protagonist giving us, something in the later part of his career, which I think is very impressive. Seeing a man still want to reinvent the acting wheel, as it were, going forward, like just testing his abilities, trying to play these roles. Willy's Wonderland takes what's probably like a D+ movie in concept and elevates it to like a B+ A- range as far as execution. The movie's really fun. It still has its horror tropes, but again, Nicolas Cage's just silent protagonist performance just really elevates this into something really fun, and I really enjoy it. So that all being said, the winner, in my opinion, for this tournament, the movie that I think has earned its place more than anything on this list. You guys are waiting, right? I see. Oh my God. Everyone's like holding their breath. That was really intense. It made me feel a little intense there. I think I'm going to give it to Willy's Wonderland. I know it's not the most obvious choice. I think adaptation, maybe a lot of people thought I maybe would push that through. But again, I think Willy's Wonderland is just too good of a movie. I think it's just too much fun. And again, for me thinking it was just a Five Nights at Freddy's rip-off film when I first heard about it, to understanding and seeing what it is now, I think it's one of the best things he's done in years. That silent performance, I think it impresses me to no end. I think it's a really fun movie. And again, I'm going to recommend it to everybody when they're looking for a fun horror movie to check out. I'm going to tell them, go watch Willy's Wonderland. I could recommend, Vampire's Kiss. This is so bad it's good. But for some reason, I think just Willy's Wonderland is just going to be a little bit more fun, and I think people are going to enjoy that. Adaptation, it's a hard recommend unless you're really into serious film. I don't know how accessible it will be to everyone. But again, I think I'm going to push through Willy's Wonderland as the winner of this tournament. Who wants to volunteer as tribute? I'm going to let you guys decide amongst yourselves who's next. I know I like to pick on you. Does anyone have an idea of where they stand?
I will go.
Adam will go. All right, Adam, let's hear what you're thinking.
Okay, so all three of these movies, I think that out of everything that we've watched, these are probably the best ones. I think they deserve to be where they are.
Okay.
Now, that being said, I agree with you where you said earlier that I think his cagier performances have happened later in his career.
Yeah.
And I think I'm going to give it to Willy's Wonderland as well, just because I did say that Vampire's Kiss, kind of set the tone for the rest of his, career. That was set that bar. I think Willy's Wonderland actually pushed that bar even further.
Yeah, it's a weird. I wonder if you look at Willy's Wonderland and maybe take this into perspective. It's a combination of everything he's done up until that point. We've seen him test himself as a batshit insane actor and set the tone with Vampire's Kiss. We've seen him become a serious actor looking at a role that's not quite normal in adaptation itself. And Willy's Wonderland, sure, it's not a great, again, it's not a Oscar-worthy nominated film, but he's taking these serious lessons he's learned in stuff like adaptation, and he's testing himself with just a silent role, and it works extremely well. I don't think anyone can make the argument that it doesn't work in that movie. So,
right. It's the best of the best came to that movie.
I think so. And again, it's the weirdest movie it came in, but I'm so glad we got it. I really think that's the one. So, all right, Adam, Willy's Wonderland, you think deserves the prize at the end?
I do.
Okay. Julie. John's not going to have too much of an explanation. I think he's made up his mind. So I'm going to see what you're mulling over there.
So torn. It's obviously not Vampire's Kiss. That can't be the winner.
It's obviously not Vampire's Kiss.
Obviously, it can't win.
That's what John's saying. Now you sound like him over there.
I know. Adaptation's just such a good movie, but it's not cagey. So what do I go with? Do I go with the better movie, better performance, or do I go with caginess? if we're looking at the celebration of the man, the myth, the legend, Nick Cage, I'm going to have to go with caginess, and I'm going to have to go with Willy's Wonderland.
Okay, Willy's Wonderland. Again, you can always change your mind, so maybe John will have a breaking revelation over there. I'm just waiting to hear it. John, what are you thinking, my friend? You're the final vote here.
I'm so glad you all came to my side. I thought I was going to have to battle this out. Easiest job I've ever had to do. Obviously, Willy's Wonderland. Obviously, hands down, best Cagiest movie.
Best Cagiest movie, Willy's Wonderland, hands down from my buddy John over there. All right. And you think that's, matter of fact, out of everything we've watched, you think that's the one that deserved it?
Yeah, I do. And I feel like especially against the ones it was going against.
Okay.
Vampire's Kiss.
All right.
Garbage.
All right, so let's just lay down our votes here. Willy's Wonderland, I'm going to vote that motion. Julie?
Willy's Wonderland.
All right, Adam?
I knew when I watched it, Willy's Wonderland.
That's impressive. He knew from when he watched
He knew in
it.
his soul.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
All right, and then John, the last vote there.
Willy's Wonderland.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, the winner of the tournament, the real cage match has been settled. The shoulders have been pinned to the mat. 1, 2, 3. Willy's Wonderland is your real cagiest movie winner.
You're Nick.
Yeah, guys, it's been real fun. We had a really good time doing this series. Some of us more than others, Julie being the exception over there. But I think we can all gather.
It had peaks and valleys.
You know, it's been a real fun time. I'm glad we got to do this, guys, all with you guys. And, let us know in the comments below. Did we make some mistakes along the way? I'm sure we did. I mean, Mandy's still in the back of my mind. If I'm not going to be, I'm going to be honest with you. I'm still thinking about it somewhere along the way. Even The Rock. God, I miss you. I miss you, John. I miss you.
Listen to me more, Just saying.
I know there's questionable decisions along the way, but we can't deny. I feel like we've had a really good discussion going into this. So this year's winner, Willy's Wonderland. If this comes back next year, there's a whole list of Nicolas Cage movies that this could go up against. I don't know if Willy's Wonderland can hold its crown to some of the other Nicolas Cage features out there. But before we wrap up this month, we do have one special video coming out to you tomorrow. It's a little special review. I thought we would kind of celebrate the end of the Real Cage Match series with you. Make sure you tune in for that. But again, thank you guys so much for joining us for this Real Cage Match series. My name's Kevin, Adam, John, Julie. We are the Real Movie Guys. Real guys, real movies, real thoughts. We'll catch you in the next one.
If you guys like what you've seen here today, consider giving this video a like and leaving your thoughts in the comments below. If you want to stay up to date with everything Real Movie Guys related, make sure to hit that subscribe button and check us out on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. And don't forget, all you audio listeners at home, we are available on many podcasting platforms. Just search The Real Movie Guys, you should pop right up. Thank you again all so much for joining us on this episode of The Real Review. We are The Real Movie Guys. Real guys, real movies, real thoughts. Catch you next time.